Story 1. Avoiding difficult conversations feels peaceful in the moment, but it quietly damages relationships and self-respect over time.
My ex was avoidant like this. Anytime we had an argument over something, even if we managed to find a point where we could talk about it civilly and figure out a compromise or solution, he would still walk away with the impression that it was bad simply because it was an argument. He would say, "We've had an argument every week this month," and act like our relationship was doomed because of it. And it would leave me so confused because the conversations we had following the arguments had made me feel like our relationship was stronger and that we were more in sync. I quickly realized he would rather keep issues to himself until he blew up and made everything 10 times worse than it needed to be than work through an argument before it got to that point. The relationship did not last, to say the least.
My mom refused to have difficult conversations with someone, and it just emboldened that person to think they could walk all over her. Have the hard conversation. Enforce boundaries. If someone gets upset, then it's a sign they're a bad person, not that you're being selfish.
Look up conflict repair. It's a muscle. It takes practice. It takes teaching yourself how to stay when your nervous system wants to flee. Then look up nervous system safety. Honestly, it does take a good deal of self-awareness to change, but it genuinely is life-changing and will improve every relationship in your life. Romantic, platonic, familial, and work. Well worth the investment.
Story 2. A sedentary lifestyle. Most people are shocked that I walk like 6 miles a day. I worry for my friends in their old age.
I recently went on an international trip with a tour group. There was an 80-year-old lady in our group who was running circles around everyone. Her exercise routine, walking a couple of miles every day.
My husband and I are pretty active. My kids are too. My husband is an endurance runner, so people see him running around in our small town a lot as he gears up for races. You wouldn't believe the snide remarks I hear from others about him. It's like they think he does it on purpose to annoy them.
That's like a 3-hour-long walk every day. That means if you have a sedentary full-time job, you're basically doing nothing in your free time but walking. Only ever walking. No quick TV show or computer game. No reading a book, etc. I know that's healthy, but I don't think I can just do nothing every day but work and walk. I crave my evening escape into a video game too much. Although, why I always feel like I need an escape might be a whole other issue I need to address.
Story 3. Spending money on pointless shit. Trust me, it will bite you in the ass eventually.
I think we define pointless differently. I live very cheaply in a resort town, so I can spend money on things most people see as pointless. It's my reason for living, though. You just have to make sacrifices up here. Do you want to live in a house or have a dirt bike and a season pass? Slight chuckle. I chose the latter.
That $50 a week for a game, or whatever feels small, until you look at the end of the year and realize how much of it was just a quick dopamine hit.
I have collections and I love them, but also, why? They feel like part of me. They make me happy to look at. They hold some monetary value. At the same time, it seems like it would be just as satisfying to let them go. Ditching these items is kind of like losing a friend I've shared memories with. I'm nervous when I throw them away, fearing that I will forget all the memories associated with them. At the same time, I need to stop dwelling on past happiness and make room for future joys.
Story 4. Interrupting and blurting out comments. You won't feel it immediately, but over time, you'll become very lonely because others will stop trying to truly connect with you.
When people interrupt me, I don't bother to return to what I was saying. I just clam up and excuse myself.
Sometimes it makes me so upset that I forget what we're even talking about.
Story 5. Procrastination. It doesn't look dangerous. It just slowly steals your future.
I think it reflects how much people are forced to do things they don't like. In an ideal situation, everyone should be able to find their passion at their own pace and enjoy it in their own way. And it's okay to live a meaningless life as long as they are happy.
Story 6. Checking social media. It's designed to be addictive and can lead to painful comparisons that undermine your self-esteem over time, without you even realizing it's happening. Story 7. Canceling plans with friends. It may feel good in the moment to have some free time to do nothing, but if you're always bailing on friends, they'll eventually stop asking, and it will hurt the friendship. Story 8. Staying up late for no real reason. You tell yourself just one more episode or just one more game, and before you know it, you've been running on 5 hours of sleep for months. Your mood tanks, your focus is gone, and you don't even connect the dots because it crept up so gradually. Story 9. Hair pulling, skin picking, nail biting. These are common nervous habits that seem harmless, but they can really ruin your self-confidence and sense of control.
I struggle with dermatillomania or obsessive compulsive skin picking. It really does ruin your confidence. My face, neck, chest, shoulders, and back are all covered with scabs and scars because I literally cannot stop picking at my skin. I do it without thinking. I get stuck in front of mirrors for an hour or more just pulling my own skin off. It's horrible, and I have no way to stop it. As far as I know, there's no known lasting treatment for it, and anyone who tries to stop relapses after like a month. I feel like I have no control over my actions or appearance.
Oh my gosh. Finally, another person who gets stuck in front of mirrors picking. I thought I was alone in that. It's always just one more spot. One more spot. What about this? Can I get this off, out, or smooth? I've been working on the usual techniques of delaying the behavior and tracking how much time I spend doing it, but it's still bad.
I've been destroying my lips for years. I'm 31, and I don't even remember when I started. I've never seen my lips smooth in my entire life. I don't know how to stop. My ex-girlfriends were always pulling my hand away from my face every 5 minutes. I've also had back acne since I was a teenager, and I can't stop popping the pimples. I've been avoiding going to the beach or the pool for years. There's a swimming pool right across from where I live. I'd love to start going, but I feel very ashamed of having my back covered in scars. Maybe I should seek professional help. I think addressing the anxiety is the most important part.
Story 10. Having a drink every day after work to relax. One is nothing and can't possibly cause any harm, you may think. Next thing you know, alcohol is your only coping mechanism, and you're annoyed and angry until that moment of the day arrives. Story 11. Gambling. My ex left with my life savings a week ago, and the whole lot went on football bets and cryptocurrency. He's ruined my life. I'm 54 and disabled, and I'll never recover the money. Fuck gambling.
We don't know the original poster's reasons, but some people are more naive than others. It happened to a relative. Her lifetime account also became his, the joint one, while his remained his.
I have reported it to the police, but anyone in the UK knows full well I'll never get my money back. It was cash that was sitting in the house because the roof was being sorted the following week. The police confiscated his tablet because he'd fed it all into cryptocurrency. Even if I get a judgment against him, either criminal or civil, I've now found papers hidden away where he committed a £100,000 theft against an employer, and there are county court judgments on my property in his name. Please be kind, and don't point out how naive I've been. I'm well aware of that. I'm autistic, so it took this entire loss of everything for me to realize what was happening.
$100,000 theft against an employer, and he's not in jail? The police have his tablet, but not him? Your entire life savings in cash, just hanging out in the house. I don't believe any of this. Not a single part of it makes sense.
Story 12. Saying it's fine when it's not. You think you're keeping the peace, but you're actually just building a list of stuff you'll explode about in 6 months. Story 13. The most addictive things, really. Video games seem harmless at first, and yet tons of people are addicted to them and have absolutely no idea because being a shut-in introvert is now socially acceptable. Just as an example, I had a drug addiction for years that nearly killed me and led to homelessness for a while. And that started with a simple prescription from a doctor that I did not fully understand and thought was safe. Now I have literally damaged my brain.
What I see is not just the younger generation, but literally most of the video game community doesn't have the work ethic to sleep before work. People walking into work with bad attitudes and black, puffy eyes talking about, hey man, I got a 42-4 on a Call of Duty match. That's fantastic, but do you want to pick up a fucking box? It doesn't help that they're on their third energy drink of the night, feel like shit from it, and they tell me that.
I used to be entirely addicted to free-to-play, massively multiplayer online games when I was a shut-in, benzodiazepine-addicted waiter. It was an odd life, super extroverted and social at work, and nobody had any idea I had such bad post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety disorders. I was panicking 24/7 if I wasn't on drugs. Then I would just go home and hide, spend all my money on a girlfriend who also took drugs, and just zonk out smoking weed and playing games like World of Tanks and War Thunder. Those are endless wells of spending if you're determined. Other games too. Now I don't even play games, and I am the most fit person I know. So yeah, life's a lot better.
It's actually helped me recently. I was struggling to focus and read for long periods of time. I started playing Diablo 2 again, and it's been much easier to read now. You can't lose focus when you're about to die in a game.
Story 14. Procrastination in general is literally just planting the idea in your head that you can do a bunch of stuff later. Life moves pretty damn fast, and it gets a whole lot faster when you're waiting on your future self to get shit done. Story 15. I would say smoking is bad. It cheats the most powerful part of your body, your brain. That's why it's dangerous. Not criticizing the smokers, though. Story 16. Communication gap. The first, everything seems like it will work out, but later, when the thoughts don't match, it hurts. Story 17. Moderate drinking. I was never an alcoholic or a super heavy drinker, but quitting having a few drinks a couple of nights a week completely changed the trajectory of my life. Story 18. Not cleaning the dishes right away after piling them in the sink. Leave them there long enough, and now you have a messy sink and a bad-smelling kitchen, all because of apathy. Story 19. I know it isn't something that seems harmless, since there is so much advocacy against alcohol and the harm it causes. I've always practiced safe drinking habits. It's a vice. It's my vice. I would only drink when I'm not leaving the house for the rest of the day. I'm not a violent drunk, and in fact it's my escape from a stressful day. Pacifies me, calms me, but I flew too close to the sun. It was only when I caught the flu a few days before my birthday that I realized how deep I was. A beer or two after a long day was seen as a well-deserved reward. That evolved into a few beers, which evolved into mixed drinks, and fast forward 12 years, turned into me routinely drinking a fifth of hard liquor every night. I didn't realize it, but I was slowly building myself a cage, and one that's not easily broken. The flu I caught before my birthday caused me to stop drinking cold turkey, and after 2 days I wound up in the emergency room. Turns out, when you get to the tolerance level that I had reached over a decade of drinking almost every day, you cannot just quit. Here we are over 2 months later, and I'm still struggling. I've been speaking with my doctor about it, and he's given me insight on how to break these chains, but I'm still in a web of my own creation. Trust me, it's not worth it. I've squandered tens of thousands of dollars over the years as a relief of sorts, and now I can't just step away. Sure, they have drugs that can break alcoholism, but I've told my doctor that I want to quit naturally. The problem is, choosing this path, I still have to drink in moderation every couple of days. Otherwise, I'll get violently ill. Story 20. Saying yes to everything. I did this while running the shop for years, thinking I was being helpful. But I just ended up burned out and doing work I should have said no to. Story 21. Procrastinating on little things like dishes or basic hygiene. When I let myself slip and fall asleep without brushing my teeth for 1 or 2 nights, it suddenly feels more daunting to do it every night. Most periods of stagnation or laziness are precipitated by little choices that didn't feel like a big deal at the time. Story 22. Slamming exterior doors causes the hinge screws to work loose, and eventually the door won't close properly. Story 23. Putting things off. It starts off small, but if it becomes a habit, you start pushing off more important things. Story 24. Drinking soda every day. Obviously, regular soda has tons of sugar in it, but even diet soda is very acidic and wears away your teeth over time.
So, you're drinking 60% of a soda cup daily. Did that really warrant a question?
Does it help that I jam my cup full of ice? So it's actually more like 60% soda, 40% water? Chuckles.
Story 25. Constantly putting things off until later. At first, it seems like a small thing, but stress, deadlines, and guilt build up. Story 26. Smoking weed every day. At first, it seems harmless. But then, years will go by, and you'll realize you haven't done anything in your life but smoke. Story 27. Hyping up your newfound relationship? This is an unhealthy mindset to have because it's grounded in fantasy instead of reality. Story 28. Low self-esteem in your subconscious mind seems harmless, but it can ruin your life. Story 29. Imagining how a conversation with someone might go, preparing answers just in case, stressing about it for a couple of days, then realizing it doesn't go the way you imagined. Everything's fine, and you've stressed yourself out for nothing over those few days. Story 30. Going out with friends to have fun and gamble a bit can lead to addiction and massive problems with gambling in the future. Don't gamble. Story 31. Reading The Guardian. Now I have to create an account with my personal details to read their paper. Story 32. White lies. The ones that don't seem like a big deal add up, and they ruin your conscience. Story 33. Not getting enough sleep. You will eventually start to run ragged until your body forces you to stop and rest. It's so wild how people will decidedly put themselves in a situation where they only get 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night. Story 34. Not speaking up to keep the peace when someone crosses your boundaries. You don't have to be confrontational or make it into a drama. Simply communicate how you will not be treated that way and move on. Story 35. Avoiding difficult conversations feels peaceful in the moment, but it quietly damages relationships and self-respect over time. Story 36. Normalizing a lack of sleep. People often treat it as a side effect of being productive, but it slowly destroys your mental health and cumulative neural health. Story 37. Habit. Not saying what you actually mean in the moment. Little resentments stack up quietly over time, in friendships, work, relationships. It feels harmless to let it go once or twice, but if you never address it, it slowly changes how you see the other person. Story 38. Not standing your ground or holding your boundaries. It feels like you're keeping everyone's peace, but you're betraying yourself, and that keeps you awake at night. How many times have I wanted to say no to something or someone but didn't because I thought I would offend them? Little did I know, I was only offending myself at the end of the day. People forget things after a while, but your body literally keeps the score, as that book goes into it so beautifully. Story 39. Chronic avoidance of discomfort. It feels harmless, sometimes even justified, but it quietly compounds into long-term damage across every domain of life. Story 40. Not talking to your partner about your relationship. If your relationship is faltering, the most important person to talk about it with is your partner. Story 41. Staying silent to keep the peace. It slowly teaches people that your boundaries are negotiable. Story 42. Checking your phone first thing in the morning. You think it's harmless, just a quick scroll to wake up. Next thing you know, you've spent 45 minutes deep in cat memes and conspiracy theories. Now you're late, stressed, and questioning everything about your existence before your first coffee. But hey, at least you know what's trending in the meme world, right? Story 43. Chuckles? Pee stains or drops in underwear, no matter the amount. And wearing socks too long or getting them too dirty is harmful and immediately ruins them, if you ask my parents. Story 44. Using the toilet as opposed to the much more environmentally friendly waffle stomp in the shower. But hey, don't listen to me. Chuckles. I'm no science dude,